Welcome to day 34 of Math 111. We will be working with percents in our lesson today. Percent is one of the most important ratios in the elementary mathematics curriculum. When we look at the word percent, we realize that it comes from the Latin. It means per 100. 35% means the ratio, 35 to 100. We have a definition here. If R is any non-negative real number, then R% is the ratio R to 100. There are many instances when we have to convert percents into other numbers or numbers into percents. We will spend a little time working on these conversions. First, to convert a decimal into a percent, we move the decimal point 2 places to the right. For example, 35 hundredths is equal to 35%. 5 hundredths, that's 0.05, is 5%. Notice how the decimal has moved 2 places in each of these examples. And finally, our last example on this page, 1 and 125 thousandths is 112 and 5/10%. So again, when we convert a decimal number into a percent, we move the decimal 2 places to the right. I want to make a note here. Most computer fonts do not make the percent symbol correctly. Most of your fonts will look like the symbol I have in the center of the screen here, which looks like 2 circles and a slash. The correct way of making a percent symbol looks like this. If you'll notice, there is an arc joining the upper zero to the slash. Practice making this symbol correctly with your pencil. I will be looking for this when I grade your work. Now, to go the other direction, to convert a percent to a decimal, we move the decimal point to the left 2 places. We're undoing what we did previously. 40% can be written as 40 hundredths, or simply 4/10. 3% can be written as 3 hundredths. 7.5%, or 7 5/10%, can be rewritten as 75 thousandths. 110% can be written as 1 and 10 hundredths, or 1 and 1/10. In all of these examples, notice that the decimal point has moved 2 places to the left. Now, to convert a fraction into a percent, we simply divide. We divide the numerator by the denominator and then move the decimal point 2 places to the right. So in our first example, we have 3/5. We have done this before. We divide the 5 into the 3. 3 is the dividend, 5 is the divisor. We get 6/10. We need to move the decimal 2 places to the right. This will give us 60%. You can use long division, or you can perform the division on your calculator. Just be careful with the calculator, with rounding and things of that nature. Our next example is 7/8. If we divide this on the calculator, we get 0.875, or 875 thousandths. We move the decimal 2 places to the right to give us 87.5%. The next example, 4/7, gives us a repeating decimal. This is a little more challenging whenever you go to write the percent. You'll notice on the calculator display that you get the 0.571428 repeating. When you move the decimal 2 places to the right, the decimal will now be between the 7 and the 1. So if you look at your calculator display, you'll see 142857. This decimal, 0.142857, is 1/7. So our percentage is 57 1/7%. When you have a repeating decimal, you need to convert the remaining decimal part to a fraction. Sometimes you might be told to round and leave it in decimal form. Watch your directions and make sure you can do this either way. Another way to convert a fraction into a percent is to create a proportion. We mentioned that a percent is actually a ratio, and so it would be natural to think of a proportion whenever you're converting a fraction into a percent. So looking at an example that we've done previously, 3/5, we create the proportion 3:5 as r is to 100. We cross multiply to solve the proportion as we talked about earlier. We have 5r equals 300, and we divide both sides by 5, and we get r equals 60. So 3/5 is equal to 60%. Don't forget to add your percent sign after you've completed the process here. 4/7, if you remember, was a little bit difficult in the previous slide. We can create the proportion 4:7 as r is to 100 and cross multiply. We have 7r is equal to 400 and divide both sides by 7. R is 400/7, and when you convert this to a mixed number, you get 57 1/7. So 4/7 is equivalent to 57 1/7%. This might actually be easier than trying to work with the decimal representation on your calculator. To convert percents into fractions, now we're going the opposite direction. We remove the percent symbol and write the number in the numerator with a denominator of 100. Remember, percent means per 100. In our first example, we see 15%, and so we write this as 15/100. We simplify our fraction in a normal way. We know that a common divisor of 15 and 100 is 5, so we divide both the 15 and the 100 by 5 to give us 3/20. In the next example, we have 66 2/3%. Again, we drop the percent sign and write 66 2/3 over 100. We convert 66 2/3 to an improper fraction, which is 200/3, and this is still over 100. Think about what this is saying. We have 200/3 divided by 100. And when we divide with fractions, remember, we multiply by the reciprocal. So 200/3 is multiplied by 1/100th. This gives us 200 divided by 300, or 200/300ths. And when we simplify this fraction, we get 2/3. While it might seem complicated, it is not really very complicated to convert a percent to a fraction. We now want to look at the types of percent problems that you might see in exercises. There are really three basic types. Let's look at these. Calculating a percentage of a number. An example would be, what is 15% of 45,000? You might need to calculate a number of which a given number is a given percentage. For example, 45 is 30% of what number? And the third type, calculating what percentage one number is of another number. In the example here, what percent of 180 is 45? Let's look at some clues in these problems that help us. In each example, we encounter the word what. This represents our variable. We'll use an X. Each of the examples also contain the word of, and of stands for multiplication. We'll replace of with a multiplication symbol. We also had the word is in each of the examples, and is will be replaced by an equal sign. Let's look at the three examples one by one and solve them. The first type was to calculate the percentage of a number. So the example is, what is 15% of 45,000? Again, what is replaced by our variable x? Is replaced by the equal sign. The percentage is replaced by its decimal equivalent, so 15% is replaced by 15 hundredths. Of means multiply, and then we have our 45,000. So the verbal statement is replaced by symbols to give us x equals 15 hundredths times 45,000. When we multiply, we see that x is equal to 6,750. 6,750 is 15% of 45,000. The second type problem was calculating a number of which a given number is a given percentage. Our example is 45 is 30% of what number? Let's translate the English statement into mathematical symbols. The is replaced with an equal sign. The percentage is written in decimal form. Of means to multiply. And what is our variable? So we have 45 equals 30 hundredths times x. We use algebra to solve this. Since we're solving for x, we will divide both sides by the 0.30. So 45 divided by 30 hundredths is equal to 150. You can perform that calculation on your calculator. So we see that x equals 150. And so in our example, 45 is 30% of 150. Our last type was calculating what percentage one number is of another number. Our example is, what percent of 180 is 45? Remember that what is your variable. Of means to multiply. Is the equal sign. So we have x times 180 is equal to 45. And again, we use algebra, so we'll divide by 180. X is equal to 45 divided by 180. And when we calculate this, we get 25 hundredths. And we convert this to a percent by moving the decimal 2 places to the right. That's 25%. So 25% of 180 is 45. This concludes our presentation on percents. The important things in this lesson are to be able to convert fractions into percents, convert decimals into percents, convert percents into decimals and into fractions, and then be able to solve problems involving percents. You may want to go back and review parts of this lesson.